working and being productive is what lacks. We go to the employer and say, what are these specific areas that you say is lacking in the people that are coming out, or these people that you want really to work for you and be productive?
Yeah.
Once we have identified what those gaps are, we agree with them,
Yeah.
do a curriculum, and then go out there, talk to young people who are willing to enter into a particular sector that we are training in, and then train them in the gaps that we've identified with the employers. And that's what really happens. And also, a very key thing is the current young person. You would find that they do not want a very long-term solution. They want quick fixes. But no, I'm not saying it in a bad way, but they want to see results. And results quick enough to make them start earning, making a living. So you find that most of our training is between 4 weeks to 12 weeks. And that is very deliberate, because we find that those particular gaps that are there adequately, that time that we train is adequate enough to ensure that we are filling up those gaps that the employer needs.
You said 4 weeks to
12 weeks.
To 12 weeks. Now, a young person is listening in and they feel like, okay, I want to be part of what Generations Kenya is doing. I want to see the skills that they're looking for, or rather that they are training people on. How do they identify spaces where you are to not miss out on opportunities?
One of the platforms now is Swahili Pot FM, where we are right now. And just reach out to say, hey, this is what Generation is all about, and these are the programs that we give out. We have 8 programs across our program portfolio. But here specifically at the coast, we have 2 programs. One targeting the digital space, and of course the textile industry. Because those are the areas that we've identified within this region that we can quickly reach out to the young people to be able to get skilled and get some meaningful income in the shortest time possible. As much as we say that we aim to place, you normally find that you also need to manage the expectations of the young people. Because if I say that I'm training you to be placed, then you'll have a misconception and think that I'm an employment bureau, which I'm not. Because what we do is skill and link you to potential employers we have agreements with or we have relationships with to be able to be placed in those spaces.
Oh, I like, because it feels like, fine, you've trained us, so after trainings, give me a job. And normally from a policy point of view, we look at it from 0 to 90 days from the time you've graduated and say we will link you up, have an interview, because of course the employer is not going to take you up because just you trained in Generation, just because they trusted Generation, but they'll also want to see what you have been trained and skilled. Are you up to it? So they'll do for you an interview and just find that, are you fit for the space within which they are employing you for? Fortunately, our screening process before we take you on is very thorough, and we ensure that we screen you not only knowing who you are, where you come from, but also just testing what we call fire under the belly. Are you really passionate about what we are skilling you for? And that helps because the young person is not going to be frustrated once you've skilled and they go into the industry and then they come back and say, no, this is not what we're expecting. So we also manage the expectations, tell them the realities about that particular industry, tell them about the intricacies about that industry, what is so good about that industry, what are the challenges about that industry. So when we give them that wholesome view of it, then whoever remains, definitely they will continue working with that industry. There's a statement Mohammed Garib, that you work with closely, said, he stated that once the instances where the youths are placed and then they get to this place and they feel like, this is not what I expected, and then they drop out. Do you have challenges where you train youths and then they get to placement
and they feel like it's not what they were looking forward to, and they leave.
We have incidents like that, and I mean, I think the way the human mind works, times even you would feel in your guts when we've done that fire under the belly, and you look at it and say, this is really what I want. And when you get there, you just say, no, this is a little bit overboard of not what I want. And you'll find that some of them might want to say, no, let me try another industry. Let me see if I can try something else. But it's a negligible percentage from my experience of the ones that we deal with. There are cases, but it's very negligible.
All right. Yeah. Let's go now to wellness at work, supporting mental health in Kenya's textile and apparel industry. How is the mental health space in the textile industry? How would you describe it?
I think the first thing you want to look at is to contextualize it.
Yeah.
What is it that we are talking about when we say there are challenges in their mental health or wellness in this particular industry? First is to understand what are those challenges. And from a survey we did sometime last year, we did discover that there are quite a number of issues that come out. One are long hours of work. And the long hours come because at times you need to meet your targets. You've not met your target. Maybe you need to work over your break time to ensure that you've met your target. Or you have to talk to the management and say, the only way I can make a target, I need to put in an extra hour or so. So those long hours definitely will wear you out if you're not keen. Some instances, although we've seen a lot of improvement, especially here at the coastal region, there's a lot of improvement, I would say, with the industry here. But yes, you wouldn't miss one or two where they would look at it as a poor work environment. Maybe lighting is a bit of a problem. Maybe they are not able to relate well with their supervisors. The other thing is what I would call also potential harassment. And when I talk about harassment, I'm not looking at it from the extreme side so that people see it and say, what's wrong with this industry? But you'd find that you'll always get that supervisor who verbally or otherwise or handle you in a manner you'd feel harassed. Given the fact that maybe you've never worked before, because most of the young or the adults that we deal with have never worked anywhere before. So they're entering into a workspace for the first time. How do they now start relating in reality? Yes, how do they translate the way we've prepared them in class to be able to work in a work environment? Yes, it works well. We've told them, and this is how it is. But when they physically work there, normally we say when things on the ground are different, they are different, then you really meet it. And you'll always find this one person who, for some reason, and especially the young people, they might want to be talked to in a certain way. You need to understand them in a certain way. And that really becomes a challenge. Some of them have come from backgrounds where they have family obligations. And those family obligations are following them to where even they work. And so you can imagine this person has never worked. They have those obligations. They have things that behind their back that are following them. It doesn't really translate well in their productivity at work.
Swali langu linakuja hapa. Nao jukumu lenu kubwa ni kuhakikisha kwamba mnawapatia mafunzo ya kwenda kufanya kazi. Wanakwenda kazini. Tuseme sasa mtu amebahatika, amepata kibarua. Na ameingia kwenye hayo mazingira ya kazi, amepatana na hii changamoto ya afya ya akili. Kama generation sasa, because huyu mnamjua kule alikotoka, mmefunza na nini, mnamuelewa kuliko yule ambaye kwamba amempatia kibarua. Ikifikia hapa, nyinyi mnafanyaje?
Kwanza kabisa tuelewa kwamba mental health support kwa hivi viwanda is almost nil, or if it is there, it's not deliberately been pronounced to ensure ya kwamba wale wafanyikazi wanaofanya pale, especially wale ambao ndio sasa wanaanza kazi, wanahudumiwa vipi in terms of mental health support. Sisi kama generation tunaanza mapema, tunaanzia kwa darasa. So we have contracted professionals wale ambao hiyo ndio kazi yao, kuangalia kwamba mental health care na psychosocial support wanaipata. Na kwa nini tunaanzia pale darasani? Kwa sababu watu wanaokuja, wale ambao tunawafunza, mahali walikotoka, wametoka kule wako na changamoto tofauti. For example, kuna wengine they are single mothers. There are some that are married and their husbands might not be comfortable with them actually working, especially for the ladies. We have young people or young men ambao wametoka backgrounds ambazo ziko difficult, and some of them have been rehabilitated, and they're being rehabilitated back to society so that they can make something meaningful. So that is why we say that ukianzia pale darasani, by the time now they're getting into the company or the industry, watakuwa sasa washaingia kwenye ile nafasi ya kuanza kufanya kazi, and wanaweza kujishikilia kimawazo, and generally how they would handle themselves in terms of that new environment they're working in. But we don't stop there. We still go further, even at their workplaces. Mwezi huu wa tatu ambao umeisha, we've had about 60 sessions one-on-one kwa vijana ama wanaofanya kazi kwa zile EPZ, kuwapa ile support to just ensure that their mental state and social support is reaching out to them.
What kind of support are you offering? Let's say somebody goes to a work environment and they feel like the pressure is too much. And like you said, they have a supervisor. At times, so some of them are verbally abusive, by the way. They shout, they yell. And then for fear of losing my job, because again, jobs are scarce, you stay in that environment. What kind of training, or rather what kind of therapy are they given to help them have a stable mental health?
Yeah, we've partnered with professionals to do this. We have PsychX, which is one of the professional partners that we deal with, who are actually empowered through us to ensure that they provide this. We have a toll-free number that is given to, but this is specifically for generation, although also we are trying to see, can we also partner with our employers in terms of mental health support to ensure that these issues are addressed, and we're intervening for these workers early enough, also to ensure that they are more productive at work, they have a more conducive work environment. Yeah, so we employ professional services for this, and they help us with those interventions.
I'm looking at what Generation Kenya is doing, and then their practical interventions. There is the self-care training. Under the self-care training, what are we talking about?
The first thing that you're looking at is, one, you're discovering who you are and what is it that is expected of you. What is the environment within which you work, who you relate with, not only just at the workplace, but also outside your workplace.
Yes.
You're looking at work-life balance. What is it that you do after work? And those all those issues, they are put and compounded together to ensure that you have a wholesome, balanced work life. And that does help you to ensure that also your mental status when you're working is as expected.
Yeah. I think we should have started at the beginning when we spoke about textile and apparel industry. You say they have long working hours. We should have broken down, like when you say the textile industry, what does that job entail? And the apparel industry, what does it entail? When it comes to mental health, there's a bit of pressure in that particular industry.
Thanks. When we talk about the textile and apparel, specifically we are talking about the EPZs, and because they are the biggest employers within that particular sector, you find that most of them, bulk of what they produce is for export.
Yes.
So they produce in bulk. And that means they need to employ many people. So that means that when you're employing many people, then also the challenges of handling and dealing with them also multiplies.
Yes.
Okay. And then one key thing that you also need to realize that the majority of them are women. Yeah. So the industry employs between 70 to 80% women. And the challenges now that go with it are kind of a different set, and the care is different, and that now starts fitting into the challenges that we try to address. When you're looking at long hours, then you're looking at, maybe we have young mothers. How do they start worrying about how to take care of their kids? I've just had a very interesting conversation with someone this morning over breakfast, and they were trying to find out how do young mothers who are willing to work and they want to go out there and work, how do they take care of the kids? Who takes care of them? In this particular space, who does them? Yes, in the textile industry, we have a few that have creches, and we have those that have deliberately made that effort to ensure that when you are handling such issues,
it's giving peace of mind to the workers. Because if you're looking at somebody who's not meeting a target and they have to compensate for it, and they have that young kid out there, how will they concentrate? How will they meet that target? And they're still worrying about the small ones.
So how do you address that?
This is a problem that is an industry challenge on addressing it. Because it's for us, as much as we are skilling and we're saying we're identifying these are the problems in that we're encountering, and we're talking to people and this is what they're encountering, and we're also seeing some industry players coming with these interventions. We're coming back and saying, hey, we have somebody in Nairobi who's has this facility taking care of the workers in this manner. We have an employer in Kilifi who's saying, oh, I've identified that actually meals, food for lunch is an issue. And they are saying, we'll provide lunch for free. There are issues that you look at, they might look a bit simple, but the effect they have when you implement them, they give that peace of mind. They actually contribute to the workers' productivity.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now, when we say, again, I'm looking at the textile industry, right? Now, I've been trained by Generations Kenya, and then I'm placed by Generations Kenya. But then I realized this environment is not conducive. Nowadays, we call it an unhealthy work environment, or we say a toxic work environment. So do I come back and say, hi, Alan, that place, Penyemlini Peleka, it's not good, and this is what's happening. Do you intervene? Does Generations Kenya intervene? Or for you, it stops at, we have trained you, we have placed you, you figure it out?
Very good question. It's not a perfect world. You go into a working environment. For one person, it looks fantastic. It's good. And Miriam, you feel good behind the mic. And then we have, he feels, no, this is not the place to be. The truth of the matter is we've had some instances where we've had our alumni coming back and saying, no, here, this is how we're being handled. I don't think this is working right. We are having some long hours, or maybe we are encountering some form of issues that come out. And this happened sometimes back. I'm not saying that that's happening now. We went back and said, hey, hang on, we are hearing about this. And what is your feel about it? But the biggest thing about it is not that we come in intervening, is before we reach there, before we engage any employer, we've already done 1 or 2 background checks to ensure that whoever we are dealing with, we will not have those issues. So rarely will you find, other than this one incident that happened some years back, we ensure that at least the partners that we are dealing with are people who are decent, people who promote a good work environment, because even the industries they deal with out there will not allow them to get orders if they harass their employers or are seen to be unhealthy employers. So we are also protected in that sense, that the industry is also self-regulating in one way or another because of the nature of the markets they deal with.
Ulipokuwa unazungumza ulitaja kwamba kwenye hili swala la afya ya akili na mazingira ya kikazi ambapo kwamba hayaridhishi, ulitaja kwamba kuna mifumo ama taarifa ambazo kwamba hazibainishwi, yani kuhusiana na masuala ya afya ya akili haziko open, but ziko, na kwa wengine hakuna kabisa. Sasa hizi kampuni za kushona na nini, wao, nyinyi mna jukumu lenu, wao jukumu lao ni lipi kwenye kuhakikisha hawa ambao kwamba mmewapeleka ama wale wanafanya kazi pale wanafanya kazi bila bugdha, bila kutatizo? Wewe umesema kwamba mnakuaga na huwa mna trainers na nini ambao kwamba wanazungumzia hili, na wao kule jukumu lao ni lipi ikiwa hakuna taarifa ambao kwamba iko wazi na iko bayana kuhusiana na mazingira ya kikazi, kuhusiana na mental health?
Asante sana. Hilo swali linalingana na program fulani ambao tumekuwa tukifanya under Kazi Bora, which we really thank one of our partners, IDH, ambao waliweza kutusupport mapema. Kwa sasa hivi tuko na partners wengine pia ambao wanaotusaidia kwa haya mambo ya skilling na kuhakikisha kwamba wako na mazingira mema ya kufanya kazi. Lile ambalo limetuweka kutekeleza lile ambalo tunaita Kazi Bora sio eti ni kwa wana generation peke yake, but it's a systemic change in the industry ya kwamba this is what we need. Kuna pillars fulani ambazo tunasema lazima ziwe kuhakikisha tuko na kazi bora. Kazi bora kivipi? Sio in terms of productivity peke yake, but how is the feedback between employer employee? How do they relate? How do they communicate? The challenge that also comes in is kuna ile stigma ya mtu kujitokeza na kusema I'm having this challenge. Sana sana wale wa kiume. Unapata pengine anataka kuyaweka moyoni, hataki kuyasema kwa sababu maybe they will feel to be seen weak in a way, or some will feel embarrassed if it's a lady. Maybe kule nyumbani kuna anachapwa. Then what happens? Hawezi kuja na akasema kule nyumbani ninafunzwa kidogo adabu fulani ambayo sio yangu. Lakini kitu cha kwanza is to address the stigma. Sisi generation, wakati tunapoanza kuongea na hawa employers, we are also looking at those issues and talking to them. We have one of our partners who's very interested in this, ambaye anasema this issue about mental wellness na kuhakikisha kuna psychosocial support is not only a generation issue, but it's a sector issue. Na ukiona kampuni moja imeanza sasa kuangalia na kuazia mambo haya na kusema tunataka kuona ni vipi ambapo tunaweza kutekeleza haya, tutaungana vipi na generation kuhakikisha ya kwamba these issues are being addressed, it means there's a step being made.
How should this the factories now address the mental health issues in the organizations now?
First thing that needs to be seen is for them to recognize that that's a challenge. That's number one, because that's a step that recognize that's an issue. Number two is how do they put that support system to ensure that issues, mental health and psychosocial support is also being addressed as part and parcel of their normal work. We have quite a number of industries ambao wako na hao wanaitwa welfare officers na nani. Kuna wale ambao wamefanya committees za wafanyikazi ambazo zina address not only mambo ya malipo na nini, lakini issues to do with how the employees relate with each other, how the employees relate with their bosses, the employers themselves. So we've seen steps of that happening, but there is still a lot to be done. This is an issue, and through forums like this, for those that will listen to us right now, it's also a call for them to say, how do we really partner with them and see that these issues are being addressed, besides just the technical skills that they draw from the employers, from the employees that they employ.
All right. Thank you so much, Alan. We have been speaking to Alan Wanjala. He's the Coast Regional Lead, Generation Kenya. We're looking at wellness at work, especially in the textile industry and the apparel sector.